How's everybody doing? I'm Cameron Meredith with ADU West Coast. Today we're going to talk about Symbium, which is basically an analysis software free to the public that you can use to analyze any ADU property. So I wanted to make a video to show how to do it, how you walk through it, and pretty much all the things you can do with that program in order to analyze your property. Now, this is for, I believe it's just for California only. And I'll show you how to do it. Now, here I have a property that came up that I thought had some pretty good potential for an ADU. It is a multifamily building, so it's a fourplex currently. And just, before we get into Symbium and how that all works, really what I saw here is more of an open space that you have on the property. So you can see here, you have pretty much all these properties right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of these properties are almost identical with the front unit in the front, and then you have garages in the back. Now, here's the property we're analyzing that has the marker right there. My thoughts just looking at this was, hey, look, you can keep the garages, which is always nice, and you can build up to 2 freestanding 800 square feet units in this open area here. So going through that, again, the whole point of this video is going to analyze it using the software called Symbium. So with that being said, I'll plug in this address into the website, which, sorry, this is the right one. So if you see up here in the search bar, you just type build.symbium.com, and that's how you spell it up here. It's going to bring you to this initial page here. And all you're going to do is type in the address. So I have the one from Long Beach that I just showed you guys. You want to click here, and it's going to pull up all the details about the property address. Now, you can see here that it has, you can do satellite if you want, but you can see here that's the exact property that we were looking at when we were on the Google Maps or the listing for that. So here's what we're analyzing. It does have some pretty cool things you can do here. So for example, you can measure your site on how, on how big, how long these spaces are going to be. That way, you know exactly, I'm actually clicking on these. That way you can know exactly how big you can build in these areas, okay? So you can see that. Dimensions, it's going to show you the current dimensions of any existing unit. So you can see that here, which can be very helpful, especially for a garage. So if you wanted to convert the garage, which you can do here, you are allowed in multifamily up to 25% of the existing unit count at a non-livable space. So therefore, if this is 4 units, you're allowed 1 unit inside of here. And again, the report that we'll go through is going to show you that, but just to show you guys how to do that. So from here, you can see there's the basic information on this. You can go through and kind of verify what that is, but really what you want to do, let's do the ADU report first. So we can go here. And what this is going to be is your report for what can be done at the property. So now, since this is multifamily, it does have different rules than an R1 lot. So if we look at your ADU report, what can be done, we can go to the first section here, which is the detached ADU. And if we pull it up, it'll go through some of the laws and the basics. Now, California law allows up to 2 detached ADUs here. Your city may have more restrictions. So, even though it says it here on Symbium, you always want to triple check and call the city or county in regards to what can be done to the property. That way you get a for sure answer from the city, because as they mentioned here, there are certain cities that might have some restrictions. For example, some cities will not let you stack these 2 units on top of each other. Some will. That's a big thing if you're limited on space. It looks like here you have a big enough space to do 2 freestanding units, but again, that's not always the case there. So if we go through here, again, you see the lot area, the residence on property. So this is a multifamily property, as we mentioned. Area of the existing residence is 1730 total. Area of other structures is 919. Ground floor areas, 2,649, and then there's the parcel number. So just some basics of the property. Now, where it really gets into the details of the ADU, we go right here. It says detached ADU design standards. So detached ADU, freestanding buildings that are unattached to the multifamily building. So that's why it's freestanding. Number max is 2. So your city may also allow conversion ADUs built on this property in addition to 2 detached ADUs. Now, I know personally in Long Beach, they do not allow you to do both the 25% of the existing count and the 2 freestanding. They're only going to let you do one or the other. Some cities, for example, like Los Angeles, I believe they let you do both. So if you wanted to do the 25% rule and build 2 freestanding ADUs, they are going to let you do that in some cities. So again, always double check. Down here, again, it says number max is 2 freestanding. The height max is 16 square feet. The size minimum is 150, and then the size max is 800 square feet. So it can't be smaller or bigger than these 2 numbers here. Front setback, always varies. So always check with your city on that. The side and rear setbacks are going to be 4 feet. Okay. Some cities, just so you know, from existing structures is anywhere from 6 feet to 10 feet. I don't see that in here, but just so you know, for future, that's what it is for any existing structure. Which says right here, ADU will likely need to be built a few feet from other buildings. Again, that number is 6 feet to 10 feet, depending on what city you're in. Okay. Car parking required, there is none. You can kind of open this up to learn more. So existing parking spots don't have to be replaced if any are lost due to the construction of the ADU. No parking needs to be provided for the ADU because your property is located within a ½ mile walking distance to public transit. That's pretty much going to apply to most properties in the greater LA area, just so you know. Cost, this is gonna vary. You can play with the numbers here, site built, prefab. We do mostly site built, so stick build, standard, premium, building area, cost per square foot. So you can kind of go up and down on what you expect that to cost. I would say, something freestanding like this is probably going to be closer to the 300 range. So that gives you kind of a ballpark estimate on what you should expect if you're going to build 2 freestanding units there. Okay. And again, you can play with these numbers based upon who you hire or what you plan on as far as building. Down here, other factors that may impact the cost and return on investment. So site conditions is always one. So for instance, your cost will likely be increased if the property has a steep slope, which is huge. It's situated next to a natural resource like a creek, or as a site challenge listed on the top of this report. Other site-specific conditions that may influence the costs include soil conditions, building foundation type, and existing observations such as mature trees, utility lines, and narrow streets. Now, this is all stuff you're going to do at a site inspection anyway, or if a contractor comes out. But again, you can be a little preemptive with it and look at this report just to verify. Second portion is design decisions. So again, your cost is going to vary based upon the architect and contractor hire, the quality of finishes, etc. So based on how you design it, are you doing it in a garage or are you doing it over a garage? That's always going to be more expensive. Are you extending square feet out? This is all going to add on to your construction costs as far as projects. Okay. Costs of materials. So construction costs are subject to rapid change in response to the market conditions. This is huge. Look at this. So for example, in summer 2020, lumber costs in the Bay Area increased approximately 40% due to supply shortage. Your ADU project will be impacted by the cost of materials at the time that you decide to move forward with the construction. So that's really big unless you sign a design build contract. Sometimes you'll start with the design, and then after the design is done, you can get proposals or quotes. Again, those can fall over or under, it depends. But most of the time, if construction costs go up, you're going to see that cost go up as well the longer that you take your plans, or that it takes your plans to get through the city. Fees, so this always changes per city, per county as well. One thing to note is if your ADU is more than 750 square feet, your city may also charge impact fees, which are fees to ensure that new development funds, it's fair to share of public services. So schools, parks, etc., affordable housing. If you stay under 750, you will not have to pay impact fees. 5 is utility upgrades. So for instance, a new or separate utility connection for the ADU may be required. We always recommend at least new electrical. Water and gas is kind of subject to you, which could result in connection fee or capacity charge. Again, this varies between city. If you build your ADU without converting an existing building, you may need to add solar panels to your ADU or multifamily building. Any new construction in California, including ADUs, is going to require a soils report as well as solar panels. So be prepared for that if you do a ground up. The way to possibly get around it is if you could possibly do either garage conversion or an attached ADU. Again, with multifamily, it's a little bit different. But if you are doing an R1 property, you are able to get past those regulations in most cities if you do an attached ADU. You also need to outfit your ADU with fire sprinklers if they're required in your multifamily building. If your property relies on a septic system, additional testing may be required. So these are all stuff that could come up, right? Sale and rental restrictions. So most cities don't allow ADUs to be rented for a period less than 31 days, and the ADU cannot be sold separately. So that's pretty standard statewide. You can't do short-term rental in ADUs. Now here is a nice timeline that shows kind of a general timeline of what you should expect. So research, again, this is kind of what they do. You can see here, this is some questions to ask. So are the detached ADUs allowed in this location? How many detached ADUs can I build? What's the maximum square feet? This is all stuff that you can answer from your city website or call the city directly. Again, this is all good stuff to know before you pull the trigger on building. And any company that's doing a lot of ADUs can assist you with this. And that's usually the first step in determining whether or not your ADU would work or what you want to do would work on your property. Design, 1 to 3 months. I would say this is actually, the actual design is going to take 1 to 3 months as far as, nailing down a plan, getting the engineering and all that. Your permitting, which is below here, depending on what city you're in, I would say right now it's about four months, give or take, to get your fully approved permits by the city. Some cities do same day stamp, from what I hear. I heard Long Beach does that if you use some of their approved plans, etc. But for the most part, if you're doing a custom unit, you should expect about 4 months, give or take. Construction, we're seeing about 6 months on average, 6+. So again, you should expect to do that. Obviously, you can interview as many contractors as you like. Just kind of go with the person you feel comfortable that could take on that job for the next 6 to 8 months, whatever that timeline is. And then the last portion is move in. If you decide to rent it out, move a family member back, whatever, that's all something you can do once it's completed. And now, wanted to go back here. You can see in the top right, there are some sections. So we are in the ADU report section. You can actually look at designs. So let's go browse some designs here. They do have some already preempted designs you can check out and see if it would fit on there. So look at, this is a 2-bedroom under 700 square foot, so 640. Pre-approved in SJ, which I believe is San Jose. So you can see this will fit right here. You can also play with it and picture where you're going to put that. So it's kind of a cool tool. So if we did pick this, look, and it tells about the overview. Let's see, plan to create a solve needs for flexible space. And it talks about the cost. So this is a prefab building. Specifications you can see here. Building height per city regulations, max height is 16 feet. It shows the rooms here, so living room, kitchen, bedroom, etc. Materials and finishes, fiber, cement, composite, glazing for vinyl for the floor. So all this stuff you can see. And again, this is per this specific plan. So if we wanted to go back, which let's try to go back here and pick something different. Oops, excuse me, that brought me back to the ADU report. So if you want to do something different, maybe not a prefab, do something stick build. Again, these are prefab. I know Mighty House is prefab. This is a pretty cool one here. So again, these are just prefabs that you can check out and see. But again, it's a good idea to show, hey, how does this fit on my space? Does it work? How big is this unit? Can I do 2 of them? So in this case, it'd be, hey, can I do 2? And it looks like from here, you could do too. And I don't know how to copy and paste. I wish I did, but you just from the looks of it, if you did 2 side by side, that's plenty of room to have 2 freestanding units here. So that's what I would do if I own this property or purchase this property. But again, it's up to you and your financing and how much cash you have to work with, whether you want to do that or not. But it pretty much is showing you that it's a good tool to have. That way you can kind of do an analysis on your own. Now from here, we can sketch a detached ADU. Okay, so let's say we want to do kind of sketch our own and see what that would cost. So building width, we can kind of go up, if we want it a little bit longer. Remember, we're limited at 800 square feet. So just for good measure here, let's do something under 750, because we don't like impact fees. So 744. Okay, so if we did one here, let's see, and this shows the setback. So if you see that line right there, that's the setback. So we could do one, and then we can either attach this or do a separate one right next to it. But again, if you're looking at this site build, let's say the cost is $280 a square foot or whatever standard, you're looking at $187 to $229. Okay, again, we can go to the ADU report here, which shows the report, but again, this is just to kind of sketch out and see what works on your property. But that's pretty much it. Again, I just wanted to go through some basics and show you guys really how to work that. So do me a favor, if you like these videos, if you want more videos, just feel free to comment and subscribe and let me know what other videos you want, because I think this is really helpful. I think this is going to help out a lot of people. But again, I'm Cameron with ADU West Coast. Don't forget to subscribe if you guys like these videos, and I'll be putting out some more here in the future. And thanks for watching.